everyone. I hope you're enjoying the various sessions we had so far in week 1 of Devtoberfest and you're racing well in the game board. We are starting front-end Friday session with SAP Fiori Tools preview middleware. To talk about this, let me welcome our guest speaker, Dominic Han. You can post your questions in the chat and it will be addressed there at the end of the session. Before I start, let me remind you to check the Devtoberfest page in the SAP community to know about various activities and how to gain points. Welcome, Dominic, and it's over to you.
Hi, thanks for the introduction. So today, as said, we're going to talk about the preview middleware. And basically let's jump right in and see what's on the agenda. So I prepared a playground app. I give a short introduction that we are all on the same page with regards to what this app contains. And as promised, then we are just starting to delete things. This will be 2 steps. First step is we are deleting the local launchpad glue code. And the second step is we're going to delete some test glue code as well. And having said that, let's jump right into the code. So about this sample application, you'll get the link at the end of the presentation. So it's on the public GitHub, so you can have a look at it yourself. So no worries. This repository basically contains cloud application programming model node runtime, which exposes an OData v4 service that is then used by a TypeScript-based Fiori Elements frontend, which is a list report object page floor plan and has a custom controller extension as well. Then we have a Fiori Launchpad sandbox for local execution, also execution of the tests. Speaking about tests, of course, we have tests in there as well. It contains a test suite with OPA5 and QUnit tests. And as test runner, I used the UI5 test runner. So no Karma in there, but doesn't matter. It's just the playground repo. So there's also some other stuff. Scroll down there, you see what the repository contains. That is not really relevant for today's presentation, so you can have a look yourself if you're interested. There's plenty of interesting stuff in there, I would say. But yeah, as said, it's not relevant for today's talk, so I don't want to go into details on that one. Having said that, let's have a quick look at the application. As said, it's a local Fiori Launchpad with one application, which is the Fiori Elements application, containing just a normal straightforward list report and an object page, which is basically empty. It just contains one custom section. And if I go to the edit mode, you see it's also draft enabled. And here you can then just add some comments, save it, and then I'll discard it for now. But that's basically all how the app looks like. Let's go back to the Launchpad. And let's have also a quick look at the structure. Let's close the README for now. So we have here now this basic, let's say, cap structure where you have the SRV part, the DB part that contains the data model CDS stuff and the application. So what's interesting for today is only the application part. So there should be no real surprise in there with regards to the structure. Let me show you the tests. So also I just to save some time, I already ran the test. So you see we have some tests in here. All the unit and OPA journeys are running through. We have a pretty decent test coverage of 100%. So now let's say motivation-wise, the question is if you have a quite up-to-date tech stack application where everything works, why do I need to change something? So that's a valid question. And the answer is, let's say you create this application, today by, I don't know, let's say the app generator. And then you get the code. Also, let me just show you the configuration. So you get the launchpad configuration, you get this index HTML stuff, also might be called FLP sandbox or whatever. And you have you have this test suite, and you have in the unit test, you have the unit test, QUnit HTML, you have the OPA test, QUnit HTML and stuff. So I'm pretty sure you're all aware of these files, right? But if you now fast forward some years, then the code, which is best practice today, might not be best practice in several years, or also with regards to other, let's say, other UI5 versions, yeah, this whole setup might change, yeah, you never know. So having a middleware that virtually provides these files would be really helpful, because you don't have the maintenance effort, and basically you also don't even need to care about it. You just get your sandbox and your test setup, and it's always, let's say, on the best practice code base. Yeah. So that's, let's say, that's as motivation why it might be helpful to reduce the amount of glue code in your repository. So let's have a short look at the middleware that I'm going to show you. It's the preview middleware, and the middleware does exactly this. You get a Fiori Launchpad sandbox. We'll see. We'll have a look at the configuration steps later on in the coding. And what's also quite new feature is, if you go to the test setup, that you also can provide the test glue code for OPA5 and QUnit, and also the test suite out of the box via this middleware. So having said that, I think we're good to go. And now we can just start deleting things. So first step is, from a setup point of view, if you have a look at the package JSON, you'll see if we run the UI on the mock server, you see what's being started is local service index HTML, and the config that is being used is the UI5 local YAML. So what we want to do is we want to get rid of the index HTML. And if we have a look, the index HTML also uses the load content file, which is that one. There you see already what I just, let's say, talked about in the motivation part, that, for example, the SAP shell container create renderer is deprecated. And to be honest, I don't want to deal with a replacement for that. I just want my Launchpad sandbox to work, right? So that's a good idea to get rid of all that. So we're going to delete the sandbox config JSON, which basically just contains the configuration of the Launchpad, in this case, the tile with the semantic object samples and display. And we're just going to delete these 3 files. And now, of course, we're in trouble, because our mock server will no longer run, because the index HTML is gone, right? So what we need to do is just, we're introducing the preview middleware. Let me just copy that over from here. So we have a new module, preview middleware. And next thing we want to do is, we see, as said, the UI5 local is being used as a config file. So we're going to the UI5 local and add the preview middleware configuration. Let's just put it in there. So what we are doing here is, we are not using the default path, because as you saw, my file name for the Launchpad sandbox was index.html that I just deleted, and it was in the local services folder. And of course, I don't want to change anything else in my app setup, so I just adjust the configuration and say I want the very same file that I used previously in my file system. I want to have this virtually served in the very same location. And I also give here my intent for the app because the intent is, for example, used in the OPA5 tests, and I don't want to have the default intent because then I would need to adjust my tests, and I just don't want to adjust my tests. So that's also no problem because I just can configure it here. So if we now restart the mock server, which takes a while because my PC is quite slow, we should see that nothing changed. As you see, it's directly opening the app with a given intent. Hopefully. So here's the very same application. Nothing changed. And also, if you go back to the launchpad, you still have your launchpad and you have this one tile. So that's already good. We could delete already the local sandbox and get all these files served virtually. So that's step one. Let's close the mock server for now. And step two, as said, is we also want to get rid of the test glue code. So this means we're going to delete the test suite, we're going to delete the unit tests, and we're going to delete the OPA5 test glue code. So meaning the HTML file, which then points to the TypeScript or JavaScript file that collects the journeys, or it collects the unit tests in that case. So we'll just delete all of that. And now, because checking the package JSON, if you have a look at what the UI test does, it uses the server, and the server just uses the UI5 test YAML configuration. So we adjusted for the local execution, the UI5 local YAML, and now we need to also adjust the UI5 test YAML. So let's just pick the configuration from here and add it here. So that's the first part is exactly the same that we also use for the launchpad, because we also need the launchpad in the test. And now the second part is the interesting part, where we say we also want virtually serve the test suite files. We want to serve the OPA5 files and also want to serve the QUnit files. I integrated for you two different samples, because if we're going back to the description here, you see there's this pattern configuration section where a default pattern is used for the OPA5 files, which is journey something journey.ts or js, and something.test for tsjs for the QUnit files. And here you see the difference, because for QUnit I just do nothing. So this means every file that is named test something, so my example, it's the comment section controller test, is being collected automatically and executed for the QUnit test. And for the OPA5 tests, the test setup is slightly different, because there's this all journey file that, in this case, because I use the SAP FE journey runner and one runner instance for all journeys, but that's a different topic. It's just I need to start the tests via the all journeys, and there I just override the default pattern and said just execute the file that is named all journeys, which is exactly one file. It's the all journeys. So, but if you just have your normal setup with the journeys, and then you go with the default pattern, and all the journeys are picked up automatically. Right, so now we have the configuration changed for the UI5 test YAML as well. We deleted all of these, and if we are lucky, and if we rerun the tests, there should be still a test coverage of 100%, and all the tests should have been executed. And then we go back to the presentation. But first we'll run the tests. Yeah, as said, my PC is quite slow, so on a better PC, it's quite faster than. By the way, that's also why I pre-executed the tests so that we don't have to wait twice, but just the final test execution. So maybe as additional information, it doesn't matter which test runner you are using with regards to the preview middleware test setup. This also works with Karma, for example. Yeah, so it's just serving these files virtually, and the test runner picks them up, so it doesn't matter which test runner you are actually using. Okay, so still all the tests are being run. We are on a 100% coverage. And let me show you one last proof. Let me just run the mock server again, just to show you that we really, so we're opening the files that are part of the that are being served. So we go to the local services folder, and there you see it's really the index HTML is not part of these files. But if you go here and type the index HTML, then the preview middleware fetches the request and serves this file locally, although it doesn't exist in the file system, right? So it's really um, really helpful because you're always up to date. Of course, if you are on a let's say up to date package version of the preview middleware, you're always up to date with the best practices code that is being used for serving the tests and the sandbox, the launchpad sandbox. So having said that, let's go back to the presentation. So what you just saw as a wrap up, we added the preview middleware. We deleted, in this case, 9 files, depending on how your sandbox launchpad is set up. You could also have this in one HTML file, then it's just 7 files. But let's say we deleted a decent amount of files that we don't need to take care any longer. And as a benefit on top, we always get the best practice code for free without needing to adjust each and every app, but just by increasing the package version. And that's already it for my presentation. So here's a QR code you can use, or you just enter the link, then you will get to the GitHub page of this sample, and you can you will find a branch there. Yeah, let's just open that one. That's no problem. Let me just copy the link from here. I can show you directly. So this is the repository, and the main branch is the one that does not does contain the preview middleware. And here you'll find one branch that's called reverse preview middleware. And there, when you just have a compare, then you just see what I just showed you. So the preview middleware is, but it's just reversed, right? So the preview middleware is added, and then the configuration is added, and all the other files are being deleted. So you have the comparison, what needs to be done, or what I just showed you here. So yeah, that's it from my point of view. And now let's go to the questions.
Thank you, Dominic, for a very good, insightful session. We had some technical glitches and a wrong stream was open, but we'll correct that in the community. The correct link will be put up in the community page. As of the questions, I do not find any questions.
That's even better.
And let me check the chat again. I'm just checking the chat. Okay, yeah. So participants, thank you everyone for watching. As I said, we will put up the right URL in the community page. If you have any questions, you can put in the comments in either in the community event page or in the YouTube link. And the validation tutorial link is already available in the description. You can complete the validation tutorial of the session to earn the more points. So with that, we close today's session. Thank you, Dominic, again. Thank you, everyone. See you in the next session.